Hi, everybody. Let me try that again. Hi, everybody in Facebook world. I am so glad to be here again on day 27 of my 30-day Facebook Live. So winding down this week, not really winding down, but coming to the end of that 30 days. And as I mentioned yesterday, the 30th day would actually be this Friday. However, I will be traveling to Reno for my speaking event with Chris Godinez, talking about all things narcissist. So since I will be traveling on Friday, then on Saturday is from my hotel room, I will log on and do my 30th live video and also announce the winners of an autographed, a signed copy of my new book that will be mailed to you at no expense to you. Okay, and to enter to win, you can do that all the way up until Saturday. Need a cough drop, I think. All you have to do is share any one of my videos, and I get a notification. You don't have to tell me you share it. I already know, because Facebook lets me know. So I'm excited about that. Like I said, I'm also going to figure out what I'm going to do after this. I'm going to do something, because I actually, as it turns out, I really love talking to all of you, even though I would prefer to see your face. I would prefer that instead of just looking at the green light. But I love talking to you, and I love that all the comments that you put in, and not only, here listening to me, but also, a lot of you are helping out others who post comments or have questions. And, I love the camaraderie and the unity of this group here. Everybody's super cool, and I appreciate that, because we don't want the non-cool people here. And by that, I mean the fence sitters and the victim blamers. We don't want them here. But they're not. That's okay. That's okay. We may have some flying monkeys in the midst. I don't know if they're going to be on my live videos. They might be watching the recorded. That's okay. To them, I say, welcome. Enjoy your stay. And no, I'm not going to shut up anytime soon. So pass the message on to your boss. Okay. Hi, everybody. Okay, today we are, every day we talk about something super important as it relates to you surviving a relationship with a narcissist, right? All of this is super important to talk about. Today, I wanted to really talk about the healing process as a whole and offer my own experience as I use it as, I made all the mistakes that there were to make. So I'd like to save you from making those mistakes and regrets and so forth and so on. That's why I do this. That's why I talk about these things, because I want to not only shed light on this darkness, but if I can save one other person from going through what I went through, because I went through it all by myself. I didn't have anybody to hold my hand through it. So that's what I want to talk about today, is the healing process as a whole, some, what to do, what not to do, which is just as important as what to do during this time, and some things that I learned along the way. You're welcome. Don't do what I did. The mistakes I made. You don't do that. Get a pencil. Make sure you don't do these things that I'm going to tell you. I don't know why I have a frog in my throat, because that frog was not there all morning. It was only when I pushed go live that that happened. I don't know. Maybe I'm choking on a flying monkey. Okay. Speaking of which, no, I'm not going to talk about flying monkeys. But the healing process, there's, oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about. Obviously, we could, I can talk for hours and hours and hours. That's why I wish I could see your face. We go out to lunch, have a glass of wine, or share a bottle, and talk about this for, 3 or 4 hours, because there's a lot to talk about. But the healing process as a whole, the reason that it's so difficult and takes a long time is, again, it doesn't have to take a super long time like it did me, and I'll explain that in a minute, but it does take time, right? Compared to if you have 2 healthy, normal people, like there's no narcissists in the mix there, who break up. You do have a period that you go through and you heal, and there's a little heartbreak there and what have you. But when you're coming out of a narcissist, right, the healing process, as I've often compared it to and said it is like riding a roller coaster in a washing machine. It is not linear. So when you leave and escape the narcissist, or have been left by the narcissist, have been discarded, it's not like you start at point A and then every day you progress through the alphabet and you get to Z. I wish it were that easy, because then, then we could mark our progress, but it's anything but that. Because of, after having however much time you spent with a narcissist, having been conditioned, having been gaslighted, having been brainwashed, having been lied to, manipulated, deceived, and a lot of the times when people are just coming out of the relationship, as I did, I didn't realize that I didn't even know what a narcissist really was. And I had no clue that I was a victim of emotional abuse or narcissistic abuse. None clue. I thought it was all my fault, because that's what narcissists do, right? They put all the blame, shame on you. So that's why when you first start, you're not starting at point A, like you've just been hit by a Mack truck, right? So you just wake up and you're just like, where am I? Who's that woman in the mirror? I don't know who that is. Where do I start? What do I do? And by the way, this really fucking hurts, right? Your heart is breaking from the pain. Especially if, and this happens so often with narcissists, is that it's a big breakup. It's a big divorce. There's something that's huge. It's not like, oh, you know what, honey? I don't really love you anymore, and so I was thinking we could uncouple. And then the other person's like, you know what? I'm on this totally same page with you, so let's work this out. Yeah, no, that never happens with a narcissist. What usually happens is, again, there's some big thing. Like in my case, there was a huge uncovery of his double life, his multiple lives, but one in particular that was really sleazy and gross, and I couldn't live with anymore. And then after that, the beginning of your recovery is a lot of times just figuring out what happened to you. So you start learning about narcissistic abuse. You start learning about what narcissists do. You start learning a bunch of new words that, like gaslighting, like love bombing, like hoovering. You learn all these new terms, and the more that you learn and the more you empower yourself with this knowledge, the more that 2 things happen. One really good thing is that you're empowered by it, so you realize that, hey, this blame doesn't belong on me, so I'm going to put it back on who it belongs. And then B, I'm not going to say it's bad, because it's good for you to go through this, but it's very painful to come to those realizations and to shatter all those illusions about who you've spent your time with. So this is how you start, if there's such a thing as starting this healing process. Okay, there are obstacles upon obstacles upon obstacles. So in the healing process, and again, there's no way I'll be able to cover all of these, because when we're in this healing and recovery process, oftentimes we're traveling on 2 roads. One of those roads is just healing and recovering, figuring out what happened to us, trying to get over him, trying to, or her, you know, just trying to move forward, doing your best. But a lot of times we are also traveling another road of just logistics. You're going through a divorce, you're going through custody issues, you know, other things that tie you together that have to be figured out, the logistics of it, right? That's why it makes the healing process so much harder, because while you're trying to heal, there is, in many ways, and oftentimes, like in my case, there's still abuse taking place. Narcissists love to punish during a divorce. That is a form of abuse. That's absolutely abuse. So just because you've left them or they've left you and now you're in the divorce process, if narcissists are notorious for being toxic in a divorce and they are punishers, and I will tell you, because I know from firsthand experience, if you're the one that left them, boy howdy, look out. They're going to come after you. They're really going to try to punish you. So there's still this abuse going on. You know, even though you've left it, in many ways, you're still dealing with it on a daily basis sometimes. Also, narcissists are notorious for stalking to various degrees. Like in my case, it was to the F-bomb degree. So I had to deal with that, which what that does is when you're dealing with this additional, you know, if you can't just simply go no contact after you've left, and because let's say you have children and you have to still deal with, like in a divorce process, in a custody, whatever it is, it's really difficult to get on a full road of healing, because every day, you know, first of all, you don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next. So that's why you don't go from A to Z in the healing process. It looks more like you start 10 steps behind, and then maybe you get to C, but then you fall back one day to A, and then you get a little ahead, and then you fall back again. Like I said, it's not linear roller coaster in a washing machine. That's where you're like, wait, what? The beginning of the healing process, and when I say beginning, I don't mean the first couple of weeks. I mean, you know, it can be 6 months, a year, up to 2 years. It can be longer than that. If, you know, like in my case, like I said, I didn't have help. I didn't have direction. I didn't have anybody who was further along on that journey who could hold my hand and say, okay, Suzanne, this is how we're going to do this, right? But there are some things that you can do, and some of you are not going to like what I have to say about this, or it's just, you know, these are some hard truths that you have to accept. One of them is that the more that you can reduce that contact, so let's say you're forced to have contact because of you share children, and or you know, you're going through a divorce, whatever it is, to reduce that as much as possible. That means stop looking at what they're doing on social media. Stop it. Stop looking at their pictures. Stop. If you have to, block them, unfriend, unfollow, but not just them, right? All their flying monkeys and everybody who's still buying a ticket to that one-man show, you got it. No, you can't. Don't do it. There's no benefit to it, to check in on you, by you, right? No benefit whatsoever. This is just going to give you a stomachache. It's going to piss you off, and it's going to set you back in your healing. I mentioned this the other day that I honestly don't know where I got this wisdom from when I first, you know, entered into the recovery process and healing, trying to heal. But there was something I inherently knew that I needed to block all. Like, I literally unfollowed an entire town of where I used to live. I'm not joking. I didn't unfriend because I didn't want to cause 200 people or 300, I think even more, between 300 and 400 people to, I don't know, I didn't want to open a door for them to then contact me, right? So I just unfollowed because nobody knows you're unfollowing them. I don't know if you knew that, but so you don't, if you feel uncomfortable unfriending, because then somebody will know that you unfriended them. So just unfollow them. They don't know. They don't know. They don't know. And then you won't see anything. I cannot tell you, just there's no exception to this. There's no exception. There is absolutely, if you are never going to go back to a narcissist, and there is no reason you should ever go back to a narcissist. No reason. I did it once, and I'm telling you, don't do it. Don't do it. It is bad news. Y'all know if you've done that, if you've gone back. It doesn't get any better. In fact, it gets worse, right? So we don't want any, so considering, taking that into consideration, that you are not going to go backwards in any way. So get rid of everything. There's no reason to know anything about what he's doing, who he's doing. No, you don't care. Of course, you still care. It's going to piss you off if you know these things, right? Especially if you left or he left you because of somebody else, or who knows. We all know what narcissists do. We know they're capable of anything. So that's why this is so important. Just, if you can go no contact, I talked about this the other day, go no contact, period. End of story. You'll solve like 100 of your problems in a day. Okay, the other thing about when you're healing, you cannot heal in the environment that you got sick. What that means is that if you are still in a circle, maybe you're still having some sort of contact, or maybe a lot of people, a lot of women will make the mistake of they want to be civil and respectful with their ex, even though their ex is a narcissist and is hell-bent on not being civil and respectful, right? But let's say maybe for the sake of the kids or whatever else. No. If you are surrounding yourself or keeping relationships with people who are fence sitters and victim blamers, the fence sitters, remember, are those who you thought were friends, but they don't seem to be 100% on your side, right? If somebody is not 100%, not 90%, not 80%, not anything less, 100% on your side, that is a fence sitter. That is somebody who does not think you are worthy enough, does not love you or respect you enough to come wholly to your side, right? Those are fence sitters. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. Because here's what you're going to spend your time doing while you should be spending it healing and licking your wounds. With fence sitters, you're going to spend your time defending yourself and explaining. Trust me, I used to do that all the time with fence sitters who I thought were friends. No, you got to move on, and you have to let them go. This can be as simple and quiet and non-confrontational as unfollowing somebody. It really can. You can do this without a big thing, without a big ado, right? Victim blamers. Oh yeah, love the victim blamers. So these can be the fence sitters, right? The ones that are saying things like, why can't you just move on? Well, if it was so bad, why did you stay? Why'd you stay so long? Or along that same line is, and this is something I experienced with fence sitters, is they made excuses for him, right? Like, maybe he doesn't know what he's doing. He really loves you. He loves those kids. He would never do anything on purpose to hurt you. that kind of stuff, right? That doesn't help. That doesn't help. That's going to set you back in your healing. You just need people to love you and to be there 100%. It's not, I don't think it's that hard. Like, I don't think it's hard not to be a fence sitter or a victim blamer. I don't find it hard with my friends and with my family and with my kids. I don't think that's a hard thing to do. You just do the right thing, and you help somebody that you love who is in need and who needs you. Even if you don't understand their pain, you sit with them in their pain, and you be there with them, and you let them know that you got their back, right? I know it's hard when it comes to the family. I know that's hard. Oh, there was a, oh yeah, funny. Okay, fun fact. Yesterday there was a question, I think it was either on my page or in the comments here, of how do I handle, I've shared with a lot of you about my non-existent, no longer relationship with my father. I no longer have a father, in my view, because of how toxic and abusive he is and still is to this day. And there was so much pain in my past with him, along with him choosing my abuser's side over his own daughter's side, and facilitating that and enabling him to continue his abuse of me and our children. So these were deal breakers for me. I'm like, no, I don't have a father. That's okay. Let that go. But just yesterday, so this somebody asked yesterday, how do you still deal with it? Because you do have to deal with this shit sometimes for a long time afterward. You just get to a place where you're stronger and more resilient and more emotionally detached, like where I am, where you can deal with it. But sometimes this shit doesn't go away, right? Just yesterday, my father wrote my mother and was complaining about all the nasty things I said about him on Facebook. That's fine. I'm used to this word. He calls me nasty and he calls me mean because I stand up to him and say things like, how could you do this? I'm your daughter. I do. I used to call him out. He didn't like that. Because narcissists don't like that when you call them out, right? So this stuff is going to continue. Yes, it is harder with your family. I think, for me, it was also super hard with my two closest friends, that they ended up being fence sitters. I had to move through the process of letting them go without judgment. Still to this day, I don't believe they're bad people. I believe that they just did for whatever reason that they would have to explain to themselves, I guess, or that they can live with. There was something that kept them on the fence. I will say that I do actually understand it. It's not something that I would do. I would never be a fence sitter, especially with a close friend, ever, ever, ever. So it's not something I would do, but I do understand it because let me tell you, my ex was, maybe he still is, I don't know, he's getting older and bolder, whatever, but he was extremely charming with the ladies. So I saw my friends, it was hard. It was hard to resist that. It was hard, especially when he turned it on you, like you were his target, right? And he had lots of targets. But if he needed somehow to get you to his side, he had a gift. He had a gift. So letting go of these people, this is really hard, but during the healing process, you have to take care of yourself and your kiddos, right? Go into the cocoon, take care of yourself. You've got work to do. What else are you not doing in that cocoon? You're not dating. No. No dating. No dating. You should be healing, not dating, and you can't do both. You can't heal and date. You can't heal and recover after what has been done to you if you are going to invite somebody else in to take away your pain, distract you from your pain, make you forget about your pain. No person can come in when you are in that vulnerable and tender place. There is not even the best guy out there, like the best man alive, cannot come in. Not that he would, because the super healthy people are not going to, there's not a door open for them when we're in our recovery and healing. You see? And there's no blame or judgment here. It's not what it's about. It's just that we're not in a healthy space ourselves emotionally to open a door to somebody who's super healthy, because we just got railroaded and blindsided by a super unhealthy relationship. So don't do it. Don't invite something else in. The only way to get to the other side and to get to a place of emotional detachment and to get over your abusive ex for good, like my book subtitle says, is that you have to go through this on your own and you have to go through it. You can't avoid it, right? You can't skip it. You can't look the other way. You can't eat it, smoke it, drink it, or fuck it away. It's going to be there for you. It's always going to be there for you. So just go through it. And I promise you, then you will get to the other side. You don't know when, but that's not the point. The point is that you're moving forward. All we want you to do is move forward. Doesn't matter at what pace you go. We just want you to move forward, not stay in place and not go backward. Okay. Let's talk about some things during the healing process. This is something that I went through, and the women that I work with, I advocate for this. This is something that I think is crucial. I talked yesterday about getting back in touch with that girl you used to be. Did I speak yesterday about that? I think I did. Anyway, I recently talked about getting back in touch with the girl you used to be, because we get out of these relationships with a narcissist and we don't recognize the woman in the mirror. So we have to figure out who we are. So one of the ways that you can do that during your healing process, do shit that either you were told you couldn't do, right? That's what I did. I did a lot of stuff that I was told, don't do that. That's exactly what I did. That's one of the first things I did. And find stuff that, you know, this may sound to outsiders who don't know what it's like to escape a narcissist. This may sound trivial, but it's so important. It's so important to find your joy again, or pieces of joy, because being in the healing and recovery process is painful. It's not a matter of whether you're going to feel pain. It's just a matter of what degree on any given day you're going to feel that pain. It is painful. So interjecting pockets of joy in there will help. It's a really good idea. So find stuff that you had always wanted to do, or had always thought about doing but was too afraid to, or screw everybody, what everybody says, just do whatever shit you want to do, right? So for example, dancing for me was, oh gosh, it was really who I was. When I was in the abusive marriage, we had a ballroom. We were both teachers. I was a choreographer. We did shows and performed, and that's where I met all my friends. We were very social. This went on for over a decade, right? This was my life. Dancing was my life. Then my oldest son was competing, so we would travel around the country to watch him compete, and it was like every day something was, we were either preparing or practicing or rehearsing or teaching or whatever it was. Dancing was my life. The last couple of years, however, he stopped dancing with me. And considering it does take two to tango, remember, it really does. This has nothing to do with, you know, there are two sides to every story in a relationship. No, that's bullshit. We're just talking about dance right now, but it actually does take two to tango. And so when he stopped dancing with me, I didn't have anybody else, right? Because I was staying home more and more. I wasn't really social anymore. I rarely went out with him in public. Well, his public life was on the uptick, especially the last couple of years. And my oldest son had left for college. So I was virtually alone at my house with my two youngins that I was trying to raise. So that was very painful for me because he didn't stop dancing. There were lots of fish in the sea to tango with him, right? Because he was super social. So he would go out and because he was a dance teacher, he could literally just whisk women off their feet. Okay. One of the things that I loved to do was to go out dancing. So once especially the first time I left, because I was like, the first time that I left and I moved back to my home state of Arizona, it was like the floodgates were open, right? I felt like I had just gotten out of solitary confinement where I hadn't seen the sun in years, 3-4 years, right? I was physically sick all the time. So when I got out of that and I came back to my home state of Arizona, which literally does have the sun shining all the time, almost every single day, it was like, look out, because I'm doing it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to taste it. I'm going to do everything. I was a little crazy. It was like, it was just, you let me out of solitary confinement and I felt like I had to make up for lost time. So you know what I would do? Because I will tell you, salsa dancing is my absolute favorite. Don't be tricked by the gringa skin color, okay? I can hold my own on a salsa dance floor. But back, I had lost my partner. So when I first escaped, one of the things that I would do is I would go to this really awesome, like traditional salsa club here where I live in the city. Oftentimes, the only white girl there, which was cool. I would go there by myself. How crazy is this? For any of you who know what a salsa club is like, you can go there by yourself. You can. Sometimes I would go at because they start dancing super late. Sometimes I'd go at midnight, dance till 3 o'clock in the morning. I'd go by myself. This was crazy. This was unheard of for somebody like me, right? I'm in solitary confinement, sick, not getting out much. I escape and I find myself in a salsa club dancing until 3 a.m. These are things that are going to give you injections of joy as you go through the pain of the healing process, right? So find your joy like that, whatever it is. I started hiking, one of my favorite things to do, and I would do it alone. A lot of the shit I did was alone, which was fine because I was healing alone and it was necessary for me to be alone. But I started hiking and swimming and, of course, dancing, yoga, whatever it is that helps you. Just do it. Just do it. Don't follow, don't listen to anybody else about what you should or should be doing or how you should heal or how you shouldn't. Just do what makes you feel good. I don't want to leave this part out of when it is to, what it is to get help on your healing journey. I cannot emphasize this enough. If you go about this alone, and that's my dog. Someone's here, maybe. Someone's outside. I'm speaking from my own experience. My healing process took 5 times longer than it should have. because I didn't get the help that I needed. And I honestly didn't know where to look, right? So one of the things that I want to, a lot of people go to therapists. This is a tricky subject with victims of narcissists. And the reason is because, and a lot of you have experienced this, I have experienced this, is that there are more than you would think therapists and so-called professionals, even psychologists, like people with degrees, right? Like double degrees, who really are completely uneducated and just really don't know much about narcissistic abuse and what it does to a victim. So I went through it with 3 therapists where I felt re-victimized all over again, because if you finally convince a narcissist to go into therapy, as I did, I didn't convince him more so than threaten him, because this was after I found out about his double life. I'm like, yeah, we're going, or I'm going, which wasn't true. I was bluffing. But what happens is that narcissists are really, really good at fooling therapists who don't know who just aren't educated on what they're capable of, right? So you run the risk of, you run the risk of being traumatized all over again. I remember clearly how I didn't get much lower after that. I was very depressed. I was considering dark things seriously. And the reason was something as simple, or what you would think as simple as being in a therapist's office who was just completely hoodwinked by him, right? And his story is victim story. Narcissists are really good at playing the victim, right? And then telling me what I was doing wrong and how I needed to do more of this or do more of that to, that was traumatizing. So when you go, maybe a lot of you already have this experience, when you go looking for a therapist, you need to make sure that they know what they're talking about right from the get-go. Right from the get-go. You can just ask them straightforward, on your very first session or on the interview or whatever it is. Just ask them straightforward. Do you know anything about this, right? Because otherwise you run the risk again of, and it's just not something, Chris Godinez talks about this a lot. She, a lot of you know her. She has her big YouTube channel, and anyway, she talks about this a lot because she is a therapist, and she talks a lot about how therapists in this field are not educated about this. So you need to look out for that. The other thing that during the healing process that victims go through, or at this point you turn into a survivor, right? Because you're not going to be a victim anymore. You were a victim. Now we're going to move into survivorhood, and then you're going to move into thriver and overcomer, as my friend Mitzi says. But during this process, a lot of us struggle with physical effects of the emotional abuse, right? A lot of us have either get diagnosed with PTSD, that's super common, anxiety, depression, just all of those. It just runs the gamut of how we get affected physically. So find doctors that can help you. Again, be your own advocate and find doctors that can help you. I went to doctor after doctor after doctor who kept telling me, oh, everything's fine, your vitals are good, your signs are all good, you're perfectly healthy. And I'm like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not, because I can't leave the house, and my anxiety is through the roof, and I'm sick all the time, and I can't eat. So no, I wasn't good. So I searched and searched and searched until I found a naturopath doctor who changed my life. Okay, all of these things during the healing process, this is your time to take your power back from the one who hurt you. You want to take your power back. So all of these little things that benefit you, whether it's you know, getting back to old loves things that you used to love to do, or discovering new things that you love to do. I always recommend salsa dancing. It does, it helps. Even if you don't know how, go to a salsa club and just hang out. Like, you will leave there happier, guaranteed. I guarantee it. A traditional salsa club. All right. Overall, the important thing here is that the healing and recovery process, it is a journey. It does take time. It doesn't have to, yeah, let me just answer that quickly. I was just talking about the physical effects, right? And Rosario is saying that she wake up in the middle of the night scared to death. Yeah, that's absolutely, that's anxiety. That's anxiety, that is stress, that is, I don't think I slept through the night, my God, for years. Just waking up and like, yeah, that's anxiety. So find a doctor who understands this, who can help you. I know that, you know, it's tricky with insurance, like my naturopath is not covered by my insurance, but I'll tell you what, look beyond the financial cost, and I'm going to go into this too with getting help. Don't focus sometimes, don't make it all focused on the financial cost, but look at what it's costing you, right? So it was costing me my emotional well-being and my physical health. So I made the investment in a naturopath because she saved me. She saved me from continuing to live where I wasn't, you know, I wasn't sacrificing my emotional health or physical well-being anymore. So again, even though this process, yes, there are obstacles, there are challenges. I just want to use my own story as a as a model of what maybe not to do. Not in the whole, because yes, I came from the darkness, I made my way to the light, it's all good. But what happened was that because I didn't have anybody, right? I went through this all alone. So it took 5 times as long as it should have. There was no fast track. I was on the slow track of healing, right? Imagine, let's look at it like this. Let's look at the healing process like this, okay? You're in California and you want to drive to Maine. You've never made this drive before. So you're sitting in your car in California and you just jump in and you go. At least this is what I did on my healing journey. Jump in and I went. I didn't have a map. I knew I wanted to get to Maine, but other than that, I didn't know anything about anything. I just knew I wanted to get to Maine. I didn't know what direction it was in. So what happened? I ended up in Texas, right? I took a wrong road. Then I ended up in Minnesota, right? In the middle of winter without snow tires. And I took all these, I went down all these dead ends where I'd have to turn around and come back and find my way. I did make it to Maine. I'm in Maine now. It's beautiful, right? This side of the light. I made it, but it took me forever to get here because I didn't know where I was going. All I had was that final place of where I was going, which is Maine. Here's what you want to do. This is what I do with the women that I work with, right? Get into the car, and I will tell you that, again, this goes back to looking at only the financial cost of something or looking at the bigger, what else is it costing you, okay? For example, I'll use my divorce as an example. I would have spent $20,000. I'm just giving an example because I spent way more than that in my divorce. So I would have spent a huge amount of money for somebody to come in and tell me how I could save not only tens of thousands in my divorce, but also I could have saved myself a lot of heartache. a lot of pain, a lot of unnecessary stress and anxiety. So it's the same thing when you're, that's what you want to look at, is the bigger picture of the cost, right? So you get in your car in California, you want to go to Maine, but guess what? You have somebody who's been there. And remember, I say this over and over again, is that I'm on the same road that you are. I just happen to be farther along that road. So again, I'm in Maine. So I know exactly what it takes to get from here to there. And I also know exactly what roads not to veer off on, what exits not to take, so that you don't end up in Minneapolis. I'm sure it's a fine place, but not for this purpose, right? So you can get on a fast track of healing by getting in the car with somebody to sit shotgun, right? This is what I do with the women that I work with. I sit shotgun with them because I've already traveled this road, already been there. I know it. I know it like the back of my hand. And guess what? I have the map. So you're still in driver's seat, right? And you're going, and you're going. And then you have somebody there holding your hand. This is what you need to get on the fast track of healing, so that you don't have to make my mistakes. You don't have to spend, it doesn't need to be an excessive amount of time to finally make it there at the end, right? Where you are emotionally detached, you have that emotional freedom, you can deal with any of the shit that's still coming your way from the narcissist, any of it, or from your family, or from ex-friends, or from social media. You can deal with it because you're strong and you're empowered, right? So to get there from California to Maine, that's why you can get there straight shot. I know the way. There's a straight shot there, right? We don't want to waste time going off on all these tangents. That's why I'm here. If I can do that for one woman, well, I've already done that for more than one woman. So as many, I'll say at this point, as many women as I can, right? Is to just, what I went through is, nobody needs to go through that. You don't need to. I got the secrets. I got the map. So with everything else, with your healing and recovery, self-advocate, think of what it's costing you besides the financial cost of it, right? I would have paid not only for somebody to help me through my divorce, oh my God, to help me get on the fast track of healing, that you can't put a price on that, right? Self-advocate for yourself. If you are going to a therapist, if you are looking for doctors to help with your physical issues, self-advocate, because no one else is going to do this for you, right? Stay in your cocoon. Don't leave it to go out on dates. Don't, it's not good for you. No. And also get out of the environment that is making you sick. This doesn't mean you have to even physically move. That's not what I'm saying. If you can physically move and you want to, then go for it. That's what I did. I was fortunate enough that I had that option. But you can do this right where you're at. You don't have to make any physical changes, right? You just remove people from you're in your cocoon, maybe in there with your kids. Just remove the people who are not helping. They don't even have to be hurting you, but they're not helping, okay? Fence sitters, victim blamers, those kind of people. I want to send those of you who are in that dark place. I was there. I remember it, even though at the same time it feels like a million years ago, and I can't believe the woman I've become today compared to the woman I used to be. It's almost unbelievable to me sometimes. And yet sometimes I remember it like it was yesterday. And what I remember was that feeling of that I'm the only one in the world going through this, that there's no hope, and that I don't deserve anything better in my life. And I should just suck it up, buttercup, right? And put up with it and get used to it, because this is what I deserve. So I remember that place. And I'm here to tell you that from me back there to me here, I'm telling you that you can get there. And you can get to a place of complete emotional freedom. That doesn't mean that you still don't have shit you deal with, right? Like, you know, my dad yesterday calling me nasty. Like, I deal with it. It's not my most favorite thing when I hear that my dad says it about me. My father, my dad, I don't know. I should start calling him Norman. That's his middle name. I really don't know what to call him because he's no longer my father to me. So there's going to be shit like that you have to deal with. And you have a scar, whatever, and you're like, oh, that's a little tender. And then you move on. You move on and continue living your fantastic life, right? A life that you have always dreamed of and that you most certainly deserve. Most certainly deserve. And a life that is full of real love, not abuse disguised as love. No more. No more. Real love only, baby. That's all. That's all. Okay. I will see you tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to talk about tomorrow. Something about narcissists, you can guarantee it. And just a reminder that even though my 30th day is Friday, I'm traveling that day. So Saturday will be my 30th day. That's when I'll announce the winners for my book. I would also like to, and I'm traveling because that's what I do with Chris Godinez. I'm going to put the event schedule in to the links right now. Just hold on for me to copy and paste and do this while I'm talking. There it is. This is our event schedule. Yeah, so I'm leaving this Friday for Reno. On Saturday, if you're in the area, it's a great way to spend an afternoon. We just talk about all things narcissists. We got, we're full of guidance and support and love and hugs for you. And it's nice to be in a safe space with people who understand you. I am going to also include, for those of you, let me copy it first so then I can talk. I'll figure out how to do that better. I am including here let me preface. For those of you who have physical issues that you cannot get help with, I will tell you that one of the things that helped me immensely, and I became an expert at it, was visual meditation. Okay, a lot of you maybe do meditation, it helps in so many ways. We could have a whole thing about that. Meditation is so helpful. I actually learned how to meditate by going to a Buddhist temple, so it wasn't like something that I didn't know how to do it. I learned, or I watched Deepak Chopra YouTube videos, guided meditations. But the visual meditation is really what helped me physically, to the point where today I'm an absolute expert at it. I shared with a lot of you that for years I had chronic stomach aches, and I wouldn't leave the house without a bottle of water and Pepto-Bismol because I never knew when I was going to get nauseous or throw up, or I just never knew, and this went on for years. So the visual meditation empowered me to take my health into my own hands. And I became really good at it. And now to this day, now I can do it like with my eyes. I could be talking to you. I could be talking with my eyes wide open and be doing it inside, right? Visual healing. This, for those of you who I know this may sound kind of woo to some people, and I know a lot of people are just like, no, I'm just going to stick with what my doctor says. Fine. I was in a place where I was desperate and I would try anything, and thank God I tried this because it saved my ass. Well, it saved my stomach. I don't know about my ass. Saved my stomach and everything else. So I'm including, because like I said, I got so damn good at this because it works. If you believe in it and if you believe in it, it works, I'm telling you. So I'm including a visual meditation that I created based on not only, and I had learned from experts about really how to do this. Not only the Buddhist temple, but by medicine woman, and really researched this and became an expert at it myself. So I created one for those who I was working with and coaching. And it's something that I'm going to put it in here if you want to try it. It is a visual meditation, so it's something that you want to, start if you're new to meditation. This is something that you just want to, take some time by yourself and find a dark room and do it when you have no interruptions and sounds and stuff like that. What can it hurt to try it out, right? It helped me immensely, and that's why I'm here, is just to pass on all the things that I've learned onto you and what helped, so that you can get here too. For those of you who are not here yet, totally in the light, I want you to come here with me, right? With all of us overcomers and thrivers, and all of us who have lived in the light but are still on the same road as those of you who are still in the darkness. We want us all together. We want you all coming into the light with us. All right, I'm going to put that in. And then, of course, as always, I'm here for you. If you'd like to talk to me personally, we can hop on a call. Don't worry, they're just complimentary calls. It's nice to talk to somebody who's been there, done that, right? Who knows what it is to be where you are. So I am, oh, good to hear, Meg. She's a thriver. Woohoo! That's awesome. Yeah, it's no better place to be, I'm telling you. So if you'd like to talk, I'm here for you. I just put my scheduling in. I won't be here. I don't have I don't think I have anything open Thursday and Friday, but I did open some for next week, early next week. So, all right, I had talked too long today. There's so much to talk about. But thank you for watching and for being here, and for just all your support of each other too, and of me. I'm forever grateful of all the support I've gotten over the years, and for these Facebook Lives, it's just a response that humbles me. It does. All right, until tomorrow. I'll see you then. All right, bye.